I'm Danny Decker from Decker Hay Farm, and we're out in the field on the farm, and this has been my 51st year farming on this place.
I'm Russell Decker. I'm Danny's oldest son. I help with transporting the hay, and I do a lot of the hay marketing and I help with the hay sales.
I'm Jason Decker, Danny's second oldest son, and on the farm I am kind of over the agronomy aspects of it, lots of fertilizer, field work, that kind of a thing.
So I'm Cody Decker. I'm Danny's second to youngest son. I help run a lot of the machinery. I do a lot of the cutting, and from there I just kind of fill in where I'm needed. I do a lot of the marketing as well.
There is one more brother, Trevor. He's not a partner yet. He's a very valuable part of this operation. In fact, he's too antsy and too busy. He wants to go out and get things done right now. He's just as valuable as the rest of us, and sometimes he may even work harder than the rest of us. So.
Years ago, we had a dairy farm, and then I sold out the cows at the right time, and by that time our equipment was kind of scrap metal, but we slowly got into the hay business and been marketing hay all over the whole country ever since. A lot better than milking cows.
We own and operate 700 acres that we own and operate total. 400 of it is right here south of Cortez, Colorado. The remainder of what we own is out in Cajon, Colorado, about 35 miles north. Beyond that, between leases and custom operation, it's about another 1,200 acres that we do. Some of that's down here in this valley, and the rest of it's spread out between here and our farm in Cajon.
When I was young, my dad had a dairy farm about 20 miles from here, and he bought the hay off this place. When I was 15 years old, I told the guy that owned it, I'm going to end up buying it from you. And believe it or not, when I was 19, he came over and said, I'm going to figure out a way that Danny can buy my place. And he said, I'll put up all my equipment, which is worth about $30,000 for a down payment, and you can get me a down payment, and it would be collateral. And so that's how we got into it. We had some tough years to start with, and I had to find somebody to help me to make this farm work, and that was my good wife Annette. And she stuck it out through me all these years, and we milked cows until 1993, and then slowly transitioned into the hay business. And the boys, they grew up, they knew they didn't want to be in the dairy business, but as we was in the hay business, they come back and they thought, hey Dad, this looks a little bit better than the dairy. Can we come back? And so that's where that went.
Yeah, so we grow a variety of different crops. Obviously, we raise alfalfa, popular products, orchard alfalfa mix, straight orchard grass. We raise a little bit of Timothy grass. We just kind of try to follow the markets and to see what we can market. We have rotation crops that we use whenever we're not raising alfalfa, grass alfalfa mix. We raise oat hay, wheat hay, barley, just a variety of different things. This year we raised some millet and sorghum, different crops like that. So we have a variety of crops. Those are rotation crops.
It's not real hot. We get 4 cuttings on some of our fields and 3 on the rest, but it's also not super cold in the winter. It's a pretty mild climate, and that makes it pretty appealing for us. So.
Well, we start cutting in late May, and we start cutting with, sometimes we have wheat or some grain crop, and then we move into grass or alfalfa, and we usually by the 3rd day we start raking it and baling it. And usually by then it's pretty hot. We start steaming the alfalfa. In June it's so dry that and hot that it's easy to steam, and then without the steamer, we hate baling alfalfa because you have to get up early in the morning, and a lot of times the wind blew all night and you still don't have any dew. So I mean, it's kind of a big deal to try to get it upright. It's hay all year round.
Obviously, alfalfa is just one of the different crops that we raise. We ship hay all over the country. We ship a lot of hay to Florida, Texas, Kentucky. We have a customer in North Carolina. We sent hay to Georgia. We've sent hay to New York before. A lot of hay to Arizona. We've sent hay to California. You know, just quite a bit all over the country. And then we sell hay locally also. We're open 4 days a week, Wednesday through Saturday, just to drive-in sales. People come with their pickups, trailers, and we just sell to local customers.
So I first heard about steamers through, we have a friend that kind of farms on the other side of Ute Mountain, and he has a couple of steamers just baling alfalfa, doing big bales. On occasion, we would buy hay from the farm just to have here to sell to some of our local customers, and it was incredible hay. I noticed you guys had started up some sort of newsletter that you're working on something for these small balers, a steamer, and I thought, oh man, that sounds awesome. I really want to hear about that. And so as there were updates that came out, I was thrilled at the idea, and not everybody was thrilled. My dad, I think he was the slowest one to come on board. But then, I don't know, within a few days, my dad got to thinking, it got the gears turning, and he thought, man, that is a really awesome idea. And from there, it was easier to convince everyone, I think, but it just took a little effort.
With the steamer, we can go out in the daytime and get it baled. Don't have to worry about a bunch of us going out early in the morning. Because it used to be we'd go out with 6 balers and bale hay early in the morning, and sometimes only 1 hour had enough dew that would make good hay. But now we can, with the steamer, we can go all day and even into the nighttime to make perfect hay.
There's different dynamics when you use a steamer, and those dynamics we weren't able to process them without a little bit of guidance. And it's like we always take 4, 5, 6 balers to a field, and we like to get it done quickly. We thought, well, we can't afford 4, 5, 6 steamers. You just change your mindset. You don't take the 4 or 5, but you give yourself a larger window because you have a larger window. So instead of baling a field in 4 hours, we're now baling it in 12, 13 with one individual and making perfect hay the entire time.
As soon as I heard that the steamers were available for the little balers, I was thrilled, because I knew instantly it was going to be a much cheaper option to put on that little baler rather than buying a full-size steamer, which makes it so much more expensive for that little baler.
A lot of the hay that ships long distances is for either racehorses or just for people that want to feed high quality hay to their horses. We've established a good name for ourselves in just different places, but a lot of people, they want the best, and so we try to raise the best whenever the weather permits. With alfalfa, the steamer has allowed us to raise more quality hay more often. But now we can have consistency during the day, during the hot part of the day, and then even into the night, we can make, the steamed hay makes a difference. The customers, once they try the steamed alfalfa, and we have steamed grass also before and had good feedback from customers on the grass, but once they've tried it, they usually come back and all they want is the steamed hay. They don't want anything. They ask, is this steamed? And if we don't have any, then they're kind of upset if we don't have any right in front of them. And they'll take whatever looks greener, I guess.
People want the steamed hay. Once they feed it, they don't want anything else. And they'll pay $4 or $5 more a bale for the steamed hay than they will something else. So it's really made a big difference that way. And if we run out of steamed hay, they don't like it.
Randy Coleman, he has some high quality horses. He has a trainer, Blane Woods, they're down in Lubbock, Texas area. And they heard about us through a friend, Jodan Mirabal, a few years ago, referred them to us and said, hey, Deckers do a pretty good job with hay. This is before we had a steamer, obviously. And so we started sending them alfalfa. We'd try to send them the better quality alfalfa that we thought had, better leaf retention. Sometimes we would send hay and he would say, yeah, that hay was kind of dry. And I would say it's the best hay we had, but they stuck with us because they knew we tried to send the better hay. And then eventually I explained, I said, hey, we have this concept. Have you heard of the steamer, of the Staley steamer? And no, hadn't heard a word about it. And we want to send you some of this. We think you're going to really like it. It's going to flake off better. And so immediately after the first load, Randy said, just keep sending me steamed hay. It's perfect. It flakes off good. I don't have any waste. It's soft. He was very, very excited about it. We have another customer, Glenn Blodgett. He's one of the lead veterinarians and trainers there at the 4-6 Ranch in Guthrie, Texas. And he's been with us for about a similar amount of time. He was referred to us from Randy Coleman. And Randy said, hey, try Deckers, do a good job, good, honest people. And so we would try the same concept. Once in a while he'd say, that hay is kind of dry. And I'd tell him it's the best I had to send you, but I'll try to do better. Now that we've been sending the steamed hay to him, he only wants steamed hay. He says, don't send anything but steamed hay.
We got the phone number from the Deckers and started ordering hay in here, and their hay is always so high quality, and he sends us basically the premium hay that he has. But to make these horses conformation and their body grow, their bones and cartilage and everything, we were looking for the best hay. When we're buying hay, we're looking for good green, solid bales with a lot of leaves on the stems. They started steaming their hay, and all of a sudden the quality of the hay got exactly the same every time we open a bale. The flakes that we get out are all basically the same size. Russell had been talking to me when I talked to him on the phone about that they had bought a steamer and were starting to steam the hay, and he was fixing to send us a load. And he was so excited about sending it to us because he wanted my take on it. And after we got it, I could see a tremendous difference in it. Everything was so consistent and just the perfect quality that you wanted.
I was buying hay just from the feed stores, basically. And then I started buying it from some growers in this area, and we couldn't get the same kind of quality every time. So I've got to get somebody that has quality hay and has plenty of it. Because we're feeding 100 horses here. We have 100 head. So we go through lots of hay. 20, 30 bales is about what we feed a day. So I wanted a supplier, not just that had alfalfa, but that had quality alfalfa. Randy's got a hold of the Deckers in Colorado, and it's I don't know, I forget how long we've been dealing with them, but just great people. They deliver the hay to us. Randy and them unload it for us with their equipment, the Colemans, and it's you won't get better hay anywhere in the nation.
So after we bale hay for, that's around that 70% range, and we usually let them sit at least 6 hours. Of course, typically we will bale at night, and by the time we're done baling, there's several hours between then and when our stackers show up, and by then the bales have cooled off and they've tightened up, and we've lost some of that moisture, and they're just really, really solid bales, and makes it really easy to stack, really easy to move around with our squeeze and stack in the barn. So
the very first time we were set up with a steamer, ready to try it, we wanted to do alfalfa, but the alfalfa wasn't quite ready, so we had some triticale hay that should have been baled 3 days before. It was excessively dry. In fact, we wanted to make sure our baler was working so that when we got trained on the steamer, that it would work just right. We went out there and we started baling this stuff without steam, and it was terrible. Strings were falling off, it was blowing up. Probably the driest hay we've ever baled. And we put the steamer out there, and we were shocked at how well it baled, how square the bales were, how the bales just held together. The twines were firmly in there. There was no chance of them coming off. And we'd actually never seen triticale or oats or barley or wheat have that nice of a bale. Even in the morning, if we do them with moisture, they just didn't make that nice of a bale. That was our first impression of the steamer.
To make the decision to steam primarily is the conditions. If it's about to rain or something, then we'll take our other balers. We only have one steamer currently with desires to get another steamer soon. So we try to bale everything according to the conditions that will permit that steamer can handle.
Jason, my brother, and I, we're really the only ones that run the steamer much. We have our brother Trevor, he's run it just a little bit, not very much. We love the touch screen. Adjusting the steam rate up or down is so easy, or putting it to the top of the windrow or the bottom of the windrow is so easy.
You look at your moisture, you look at moisture coming on or leaving, you adjust your steaming rate, get out and make sure your bales are what you want them to look like, and you just bale. Mostly 99% trouble-free. We have more problems with our balers than we do with the steamer.
I found even last year, as I was going through the winterization process, it was incredibly simple. I love your manual because it is step by step. I mean, even for a dummy, I can figure it out so easily.
You stop, you fill up your water, fill if you need to, blow everything off, and that usually takes about 15 or 20 minutes at the most, and then get back and going again and just non-stop baling.
We grabbed a few of our greener bales that we had, and we've had a lot of good quality hay this year. This is some first cutting that we steamed and made some really nice hay. In fact, let me pull a bale down and let's cut it open, just show you how it flakes off and stuff. And so this is probably some of the nicer first cutting that we baled this year. I want to just pull a few flakes out of here to kind of show why our customers like it so much. We'll see how it flakes off. Obviously, the flakes are very consistent. Let's just pull a flake out of the middle. So why do our customers like the fact that this flake came out? Whenever hay is inconsistent, alfalfa hay is inconsistent, the bales obviously, when you open it up, you'll grab a flake or try to, and the flake won't be the same size. There'll be a bunch of powder. You'll be trying to hold it together to where you can actually make it to where you're feeding your animals. So it is soft. As we grab a piece of the flake, the leaves are intact, but we're not losing anything. Pretty much everything is gonna be consumed. If it's fed in a feed basket or in a feed trough, this is exactly the perfect hay that our customers like. But the steamer is what makes the difference. The bales are tight. That's one thing we like about the steamer, that you pull the strings and they're really tight. Sometimes if you bale hay that's just dry, the strings are gonna come up higher. The stacks of hay won't stand as good. They're more wobbly. Whenever we're putting them in the barn, we definitely want tight bales. We baled some third cutting mix. This was baled last night. This has about 20–30% orchard grass. We recently planted the orchard grass into the alfalfa. So let's kind of peel this apart. Once again, look at our flakes. Consistent. Have just a little bit of grass in there, but once again, very soft. Nothing's gonna fall apart. I'm gonna carry the flake over and the animals are gonna be able to get full use out of it. And in the grass in particular, it makes it even softer by steaming it. So I decided to bring a bale of some hay that we weren't able to steam this particular field. Like I said, this hay they're both from first cutting. I just wanted to cut this bale open to show the difference. These two fields were baled within 3 or 4 days of each other. So let's see how this flakes. Okay, there we go. This is the powder. It doesn't flake too good. Notice the flakes aren't consistent at all. Just kind of, I'll try to grab a flake out of the middle and see how we do. See if I can spread this out a little bit. I mean, I can kind of get a flake, but it's extremely dry. But let's just compare a flake of each. This one here I can just grab because it's going to stay together. This will feed much better. A lot more leaf retention as I compare the two. And also, whenever there's less leaf retention, it looks stemmier. Obviously there's more stems and less leaves now. Set them side by side. This field would have been, it wasn't any more mature than the other field or any, it wasn't a heavier stand. Just the steaming, even the green color is better. I think this would have looked a little bit greener if it had been steamed as well. I'm going to take a flake of the dry hay, if I can hold it together, which is hard to do, and grab a flake of the steamed hay, and we're going to drop it on the ground and just see how it holds together. Okay, let's see what's left. Well, still pretty much intact, just a few leaves on the floor there. Still get good use out of that. If I pick this up, well, like I said, it's all powdery and it's all falling apart. This is definitely much higher quality feed because we were able to steam it. Our customers, that's what they agree with. They all want steamed hay because of that. And so that's what sells, is the flakes, the leaf retention, the softness of the hay. It's just a better product because of the steamer. Both of these bales, obviously first cutting alfalfa bale within 3 or 4 days of each other. This one was steamed, this one wasn't steamed. Currently we're selling this hay for $21 per 90-pound bale, and we're selling the premium steamed for $24 per bale.
You know, when you can pay $24 a bale for steamed hay, we sell a lot of $24 hay.
The huge benefit for us is we don't have to have such a gigantic crew of people trying to go out in the morning to bale hay. I don't know, one of our goals is to try to make life easier for everyone, try to decrease their stress in the summer and not add more hours to their day. So by not having those people in a tractor first thing in the morning allows them to change water, go home and eat breakfast and do things that they need to do before the rest of the day gets going, because we don't really have a time where we can go have a siesta. It's all day long. So
if somebody were to ask me, and if they're considering a steamer, if they're asking me if they should do it, first of all, I would tell them, you know your finances. That's ultimately the most important thing. But you need to study it really well, because you look at the cost, you think, wow, how do I do that? But you've got to look at all the benefits. For us, we suspected the benefits would be there, because we've seen big bale steamers making high quality hay, and we saw what that would do. And it was a little bit of a leap of faith to jump into it. We're big enough to where we can justify it. If you're pretty small, you may not be able to justify it as easily. But as soon as we saw the product it created, we knew it was the right decision, without a doubt, to get the steamer. Some hay at sometimes has gotten a couple more, $2 or $3, $4 more per bale. If you could tally that all up and had the time to do that, we believe it's not just paying for itself, but it's making us extra money that we wouldn't be making without it.
If we could go back, we would buy the steamer 100 times over. We have provided ourselves with an unfair advantage. It has created something that the customers cannot get anywhere else, because we believe that we cannot bale that same quality of hay with natural dew. We don't think we can make it as nice. It's not possible. And so we're providing them with such a superior product that it creates return customers. I think any customer will appreciate steamed hay, whether it's a dairy, a racehorse owner, or just a gal that has a few horses. They want to take care of their their animals, and anybody is going to want that super awesome hay. They're investing their time and money into that animal, and they want to give it the best product they can.
Find a way to buy a steamer. It will improve your operation. The steamed hay markets itself.
The steamer has helped us to handle better what we have and make higher quality hay more consistently. Everybody wants to make good living, provide for their families, and sometimes that is expanding, sometimes that's just doing better at what you're doing. We want to focus on what we are doing and do the best job we can of it right now. The steamers actually allow us to do that.
We are open to whatever does not create more work for us, for whatever doesn't pull us away from our family. We're at a point we want to have family time.
I'm glad that we bought the steamer. We've made a few decisions over the years that helped our farm accelerate our profits and for us to improve and to grow. The first decision we made was to get into 3-string baler. And I would say the next big decision, besides maybe a rotary mower when those became available, is the steamer. It's changed the way we can market the hay. The hay markets itself if it's been steamed. And people just love it.